Hello everyone, so I'm a bit disappointed in making this video because I thought a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, that maybe something would come off this, and what I mean by that is to do with the Robinsons' house in Milltown and County Cavan. Now, there's a long story behind the Robinsons, but they basically were three brothers who were gifted craftsmen. They were mighty people, like we wouldn't get them nowadays, that were gifted, like purely gifted. There's no other word to describe it, but they made great furniture, engraved furniture, most high quality, like you couldn't get it nowadays. All by hand, not by machine. All by hand, they done it themselves. And they were gifted people, and they were from Milltown and County Cavan. And there was a program in RT back in the day, back in the 70s and the 80s, called Hands, and I would recommend people to look it up, because they give you a lot more backstory to it. But it was called Hands, the OTE program, and it showed how gifted they were and the great furniture they made. And still to this day, too, if anybody wants to see their furniture, some of the furniture, the cross in Milltown Chapel in St Patrick's Church in Milltown is made by them. It's handcrafted. It's amazing. It's brilliant. There's no word to describe. It's brilliant. And that sits in St Patrick's Church in Milltown. If anybody's ever gone through it, do have a look at it, because it's well worth having a look at, because it's just so gifted quality, like amazing. But unfortunately, their house and their workshop has been left lying since the three of them died for years, and we're talking about, at this stage, could be 30 years, 20 years, left lying idle and gathering dust, unfortunately. And I recommended about 2 years ago, and along with other people, many other people around Meltown too, that they would turn this place into a museum, or even a place where people can come in and look at the furniture, the old furniture they made, even just do it up and let people have a look inside the workshop in the window, etc. Maybe do it up to where they used to have it, etc. To remember their gifted talentship. And unfortunately, that is not the case, as sadly has been reported. A developer, along with the owner of the property, has going to redevelop it into apartments, as far as I gather. Has no intention of turning it into a museum or anything. Now, I hope he changes his mind. I really, really do hope he changes his mind. I really do hope. I hope he does. I hope he thinks about it, because I do think it'd be a missed opportunity for him too, because he could charge people a few euro to go in and have a look. I would happily go in. I'd pay €9 to go in, even if it was €9. So people would go and see it. People would, because it's such gifted craftsmanship, and there's probably old furniture belong to them. So probably things belong to them in there too. That would be great. People would pay money to go in to look at it. I would. I certainly would. I think many other people would. And it would put something in Milltown for people to do, because there is the old monastery there. There's no shop in Milltown anymore. There's a pub, there's a church, and there's a community centre, and then the school. There is not that much going on in Milltown, and having something like that would actually encourage people to go to Milltown, would actually have something for people to go along with Romaine Abbey, of course, which is a marvellous place too. But it would have something else, an icing on the cake, if you may add that, for people to go and visit Milltown, because unfortunately Milltown is out of the way a bit of many tourists, take for example, to come to Cavan, or even people in Cavan in general, because it is a very small town. So that's what I would recommend. So I hope the owner thinks about it. I really, really do hope he thinks about it, along with the developer. I do hope they do think about it, and maybe we consider the decision, because I do think it would be important for Milltown, and it'd be important for them too. I do think they would make a good few bob off it. Even if they were willing to sell it to the council, I'd be sure. I would say the council would be interested in doing something with it. If they were willing to do it up, and the council would buy it off them, the state would buy it off of them. I nearly would say they would. I'd say they would 100% do it, if they wish to. If they didn't want to take over, the council probably would take over it. But I do think it's a shame that the council hasn't offered to buy it. I do think the council should have offered to buy it 2 years ago, off the owner, to do it up and to turn it into a nice museum, or even just hang the artifacts in like an art gallery, I suppose. But you of course charge a few bob too for the upkeep, etc. of it. But I think it's disappointing that this is the outcome we have at the moment. But as I say, I know people would say that how people need housing, etc. But I do think it's necessary for a place like Milltown, especially being so small, that has somewhere for people to go to, is to encourage people to go to Milltown, because it is only a small town and stuff, and I do think it would be important. I do think it would attract people too, because there's gifted workmanship. Even still to this day, people watch that documentary in OT from the 70s and say how gifted they were. But do let me know what you think, because I do think it's most unfortunate that they have gone down this road. I really wish they didn't. Maybe they reconsider, as I say, but I would ask them to reconsider, to think about it. I would ask them, because I do think it would be beneficial to Milltown as a whole, the whole area. And to them, of course, too, if the council wanted to take over it instead, or whatever. But I do think it would be, but because they were gifted people, they were amazing people, gifted people. We don't have them nowadays in this county, and not even in Ireland as a whole. They were gifted people, 1 in a million people. great craftsmanship, great attention to work, and just amazing. And there's something that should be remembered, and there's nothing really in Milltown apart from the cross and the church that remembers these people. And I do think even having, even a museum, etc., would be something, would remember these people for their craftsmanship, because unfortunately, as years go on, people will forget about it. And it's a sad thing to say, but it is the truth. But we need to keep the memory alive. But anyway, let me know what you think, subscribe, and bye.